Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Laskewitz, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can return values from a WinAutomation process to Power Automate. And a couple of you might think, well, isn't that what you did in last video? I did, but I'm going to make it even more easy for you to do this. So let's just go to my computer and show you how it's been done. Okay, so here we are in the WinAutomation response flow that I already showed before. We have a simple when an HTTP request is received trigger, and we have a create item action, SharePoint action behind that to make sure that all our values get saved into a SharePoint list in this case. So to trigger this one, we can copy the HTTP post URL, and let's move to the process that we have here, and that's the input forms process. I already removed the CMD actions that we had behind here. There were about 4 actions that triggered the PowerShell script and so on. But in this case, I want to make sure that we have a variable in here. So let's add the set variable action here and paste the URL in here. We are going to change this to Power Automate URL so that it's really good to read and to see that we have the Power Automate URL in this variable. And immediately we see an error here, and that's the syntax error in property variable value. And that's, of course, the value of the variable here. And that's the URL we just copy and pasted. So what's wrong with that? If you look at the URL, you have HTTPS and so on and so on. But there are some characters that don't really work well in the set variable action. And that's, for instance, the percentage sign, because percentage also stands for a variable. So those kinds of things, you need to escape those. And I'm too lazy to actually escape those. So I always go to the browser and I go to a URL decoder to make sure that I can select decode and watch what happens with the %2f. It turns into a slash. So we don't have any weird characters anymore. So let's move back to the process and put it in here and select OK. At the end of our process, I actually want to add another action, and that's the one that's in the Web Automation folder and then the Direct Web Access folder. And there's an Invoke Web Service action, so let's add that one in here. I, of course, want to include the URL in here. I already selected HTTPS. When I enter the Power Automate URL in here, you maybe can remember that I already had the HTTPS in front of that, so I need to remove that. I need to change to the method post because we're going to do an HTTP post request. Let's just change the content type to application JSON, and of course I want to enter the request body in here, and let's just add our values in here. And the first one was result and the second one is name. So let's add the variables in here and select result from here. And in the name value, I of course need to use the input name variable. So for now, I think this is a really good way to go. So let's just save this one and go back to my flow. And we have here the run WinAutomation flow. Let's just test this out, perform the trigger action, click on test, and then run flow. And now the flow should run. It should trigger the WinAutomation process, and we can see that happening right now. And you can see that it's opening Excel, Chrome, it's filling in all the details, and then it's finishing the process. So it said process completed successfully in 7 seconds. So that's pretty fast. Let's move back to the browser and see what happened with the WinAutomation response. So let's move back and we can see that 9 minutes ago we had a succeeded status. But that's not the one we triggered just now. So what actually happened? Let's open up the process again. The first thing that I need to fix is the HTTPS part. So let's change that one and save it again and go back to the flow, see if it will work right now. So let's test it again, perform the trigger action and select run flow. And here we go. The WinAutomation process really kicked off fast. It is filling in all the details and then it's finishing up the process. It's already done in 8 seconds and that's really, really fast. So let's move to the WinAutomation response. Let's refresh and we can see that there is still no run started. So obviously there's something wrong with my process. And it took a while for me to figure out what it was, but there is some documentation on the internet about it. It's on the forum somewhere. You can find it if you look really well. So let's open the Invoke Web Service action and I'll just show you what actually the problem is. We need to go to the advanced tab and in there we have an option for encode request body. If we deselect that and we select OK, and we save the flow of the WinAutomation process already. I'm so used to WinAutomation already. I already call it a flow. That's kind of strange. But let's move to the flow that triggers the UI flow and test it again and see if we can get the data back now. Let's run this. And of course, WinAutomation is going to start now through UI flows. Here we go. It opens Excel, it gets all the rows, it starts filling in the details, and we are done. So that went pretty good, but let's check if we can find the run now. So it's 10 minutes ago that the last run succeeded. Let's refresh and we can see that 12 seconds ago the last run succeeded, and that's the one I just triggered. It also has all the details in here and it saved it to the SharePoint list. So in short, this is how you can make it even easier to trigger another flow and do that. But make sure to go to the set variable action and make sure you use the right values. Make sure to decode the URL because otherwise you will have tons of issues. So don't do that. And of course, don't forget to go to the advanced tab and deselect the encode request body checkbox in the actions there. With that, I want to end this video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have some comments, please leave them below and I will respond to that as soon as possible. As always, please like and subscribe and I hope to see you at a next video. Bye bye.